In this video, you will learn how to set up the Quilt Maker Pro frame. Your frame is set up and ready to go. Now it's time to load your first quilt. Before we begin, you will need to become acclimated with the names of the different bars that you will be using during this process. This is your quilt take-up bar. This is your idle bar. This is your quilt backing bar. This is your quilt top bar. And lastly, this is your batting bar. First, you will need to apply the hook tape that came with your frame to the quilt take-up, quilt backing, and quilt top bars. Make sure to find the center of the hook tape and start at the center of the bar, working out toward the end. Repeat this process for the other half of the bar. If you need help keeping the hook tape straight on the bar, use the holes on the bar as a guide. The next step will be to attach the leader cloth. Before proceeding, make sure to lock the ratchet on each of these 3 bars on the right side of the frame, keeping the hook tape on the top of the bar. This will ensure that your fabric will be rolled with the correct amount of tension. Next, find the center of the leader cloth. Make a mark at the top and bottom. Match up the center of the bar with the center of the leader cloth and attach hook and loop tape to each other. While you are attaching these together, let the leader cloth fall to the back side of the bar. Once done, repeat this process on the other 2 bars. Now it's time to load your quilt backing. Find the center of the top and bottom of your backing and place a pin in the fabric to hold the spot. Lay over the frame with the right side of the fabric facing down toward the floor. Match the center mark on the backing to the center mark on the backing bar leader cloth. Use a heavy-duty type of pin, like the T-pins featured, and begin pinning from the center to one end of the leader cloth until the backing is attached on one side. Remember to weave the last pin in and out of the fabric twice so that it is secure to not come out. Resume on the other side of the backing, making sure to keep the pins going all in the same direction. When you get to the end, insert the last pin in the opposite direction. Ensure that you do not prick yourself while quilting with the sharp edge of the pin. Double-check that the backing bar ratchet is locked before you begin to roll the fabric onto the bar. As shown, adjust the leader so that the fabric in the leader will roll onto the bar straight. Begin to roll the leader and backing fabric, smoothing the fabric as you go. Check each end of the backing fabric to make sure that it is rolling onto the bar evenly. In the event that you need to piece your backing, the seam can be used to check your alignment and helps you to roll the fabric correctly. Find the center of the quilt take-up leader, being sure that it is behind the idle bar, bringing it to the front. Match the center of the quilt take-up leader to the center of the backing fabric. Repeat the pinning process. While pinning to the take-up bar, if you have enough room to walk to the back of your frame, then pin the quilt from the back side. Let's move on to loading your quilt top. Mark the top and bottom center of your quilt top. Lay the quilt top over the frame and align the first center marking with the center of the quilt top leader cloth. Pin as previously instructed. Remember to make sure that the quilt top bar ratchet is locked. Roll the leader and quilt top using the quilt seams to make sure that you are loading the quilt straight. Once again, check the quilt edges, making sure that it has rolled evenly. To avoid stretching your quilt top, remember to always smooth the fabric from the center out, as it is shown in the video, and never pull on the quilt sides. Move the quilt top bar to the cradle. This will allow you to have more room for adding the batting. Now it's time to add your batting. Lay the batting on the top of the quilt backing. Top the top edge of the batting close to the pins of the quilt backing where it is pinned to the leader. Match the side edges of the batting with the quilt backing. Smooth the batting in place. If you are not using the batting bar to store a large roll of batting, it can still be used to roll batting when doing a large quilt. Remove the quilt top bar from the cradle and place it back into the original position. Unlock the quilt top bar ratchet and pull out the quilt top, aligning the top edge of the quilt 1.5 inches from the pins that are on the leader, matching the center of the quilt to the center of the take-up bar leader. Smooth out the quilt top on the batting, turning the quilt top bar ratchet in small increments until you have the desired tautness. If necessary, you can tighten the quilt backing bar as well. To add extra stability, attach the side clamps to the backing and batting. Once attached, pull on the bungee cord and lock in place. Now you're ready to baste the edges of your quilt.